Good morning. Welcome to Solar Storage Fest. My name's Chris Moyer. I'm the Senior Director of Content and Research with Z-Prime. I'm joined up here on the stage by my colleague, Erin Hardick.
Hello. Good to see you all.
We're so thrilled to be hosting the first Solar Storage Fest here in San Antonio. This is such an incredible point of inflection for the renewable energy industry, particularly around solar and storage. The conversations that we're going to be having over the next 2 days, I think are going to build that groundswell of a drive towards a cleaner energy society, advance the goals of putting more solar and storage on the grid, and we're just thrilled to be having the opportunity to speak with all of you. Erin, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the social media elements and other things that people can get involved with over the course of the next 2 days?
Absolutely. So one of the best ways to kind of leverage the power of the conference and the exchanges that are going to be going on is through social media. So tweet as often as you can, post on LinkedIn about things you find interesting, things you've learned, so that the people who aren't here can also kind of share in this knowledge exchange. And when you do that, make sure to use the hashtag SSF19. That way, hopefully we can trend on Twitter. Enough people will be talking about it, and we'll get some good visibility about some of the problems we're going to be talking about over the next 2 days and how we plan to solve them. So use that hashtag SSF19. You can follow Z-Prime on Twitter at Z-Prime Research. But that's pretty much the best way to do it. Tweet as often as you can, post as often as you can, and make sure to use that hashtag.
Thanks, Erin. And before we dive into all of the great conversations that we have coming up today, you're going to see Erin and myself up here quite a bit. We're going to be your MCs. We're really excited about that opportunity to guide this conference. But before we dive into that, just a couple quick things that Z-Prime finds particularly interesting about the opportunity and the challenges of solar and storage. The business opportunity of solar and storage working together is a virtuous circle. More solar deployment through the grid requires storage to smooth electricity pricing, answer the questions around peak load demand, the mitigation of curtailment. Society cannot meet our decarbonization goals without rapid solar deployment, and successful solar deployment will require forward-looking storage solutions. The questions that we're going to be talking about, the answers that we're hopefully going to be getting at over the next few days, is really why solar and storage together. I think that over the last couple of years, there's been a growing recognition that solar alone can't achieve some of those lofty aspirational goals without additional storage opportunities to back that up. Whether it's the grid as a backstop with base load generation, or whether it is advancements in storage technology that are the result of many different opportunities, but the cost of lithium-ion batteries has fallen as manufacturing has scaled up to support both the electric grid and EVs. And increased storage deployment can reduce grid management concerns. Particularly, we see that out in California, Hawaii, as they work to tackle the peak demand around the duck curve. And strong investment in both can reduce the need for expensive CapEx and OpEx spending at utilities. Estimates on that range over the next 10 years, as much as 50 to 80% just in the next decade on increased generation from natural gas or traditional coal plants. The two really need to grow together, and NREL's analysis suggests that increasing solar penetration in California creates a market for 7,000 megawatts of 4-hour storage. If we're not thinking about these two forces together, projected growth for standalone solar is slowing as a result of uncertainty around the investment tax credit, additional concerns related to the tariffs. So storage has the opportunity to reinvigorate that growth in solar that we've seen over the last decade. As you can see, annual photovoltaic demand by region between 2001 and 5 years from now has leveled off. There was a dramatic increase, particularly in Asia and North America, from 2000 up until just a few years ago. It leveled off in 2018. There's expected to be a rebound this year. We've seen that rebound. And it's expected to grow a little bit in 2020. But then through the first part of the next decade, solar is expected to stay relatively flat. We're seeing those same trends in the United States. Big growth from 2010 all the way to 2016, a reduction in that and greater deployment around solar, and then flat through the next 5 years. However, there's a massive growth in storage. As you can see, from 2016 all the way projected up until 2013, and I want to get my statistics right here, so I'm going to step back and take a look at this. Forecasts show that global energy storage markets will double 6 times between 2016 and 2030, rising to a total of 125 gigawatts and 305 gigawatt hours. This is a similar trajectory to what we saw, what the solar industry went through from 2000 to 2015. 8 countries will lead the market with 70% capacity to be installed in the US, China, Japan, India, Germany, the UK, Australia, and South Korea. Energy storage, both utility scale and behind the meter, will be a crucial source of flexibility in this period and will be essential to integrating increased level of renewable energy. As we go together, there are so many wonderful projects that have happened over the past couple of years. And just to name a few, groundbreaking solar storage projects like the Kauai Island Utility Cooperatives project with Tesla. You can see that on the top picture right there. And Tucson Electric Power, Xcel, Arizona Public Service, Florida Power and Light. Many of them are looking at solutions where both solar and storage are working together. So I'm going to get Aaron Hardick back up on stage. We really are excited for the rest of this conference. In just a few moments, we're going to be joined by CPS Energy, Frank Almaraz, and Aaron's going to introduce Frank right now. Thank you.
Chris did mention who our next speaker is, so kicking off the conference today, we're going to be talking about how the renewable future of energy is now. We've been talking about it a little bit in this futuristic sense, but our next speaker is going to talk about how these technologies can be deployed today and really benefit the grid. So please join me in welcoming our first speaker to the stage, Frank Almaraz, Chief Business and Administrative Officer for CPS Energy.